Hello guys, welcome to CS Tech Solution. Today's is learn in SQL and today's is learn as a constraint. Constraints are as a rules that apply to the tables columns and to maintain the accurate data. And the types of constraint as not null, as a Unix, primary key, foreign keys, as a check and as a default. And one by one has to check first as a not null constraint as a prevent as a empty as a empty value, and the example as a create table names and counts inside as id and after the data types and not null, and as an and the another colons and as a commas and the names and where case counts as a 50 and the not null, and counts close and as a semicolons is invalid. So the data is not gives in the ids and the names, so the nulls to write in this part, and after the names data has to give, so the names data is right, and another times as the names data is not give, so the names and data types to the fields as null, and as a unique constraint is unsure all as values is are as a different, and the example is a create table names and counts inside the mail is a where case and data types and the counts is 100, and after as a write a unique keyword and the counts close and semicolons to allow as emails to write and the first datas and a@gmail.coms as a b@gmail.coms is allowed, but as a not allowed the emails data has to give a@gmail.coms is one times, and the another times has to show as to write is not valid, and as a not enter this data as the same, and as a primary keys as a primary key is a uniquely identify the each the record, and the roles as a cannot constraint a null, but and as a must be as a unique, and the example as a create a tables as the students and counts inside as a student id and the int as a primary key and commas as the names is varchars as a 50. So the primary keys is used and the null data is not allowed, and as a unique data to write, and as a student ids as the unique ids to show, and as a null is not allowed, and as a names has to show in the same as this table, and as a unique ids to show, not a repeated and the duplicate id, and foreign keys as create a relationship between the two tables, and examples are department tables is a create a tables as a department and counts inside a department id is a int and the primary key and commas as department names is varchars and the 50 and the counts close and main counts close and semicolons, and employee tables as a create a tables table names is employee and counts as inside as the employee id is the integers and the primary key, and the names is varchars and as a 15 words has to give, and commas as the department id as the integer, and the department ids to calls as the department tables through the as a foreign keys, so the commas and the foreign keys counts inside department ids as to write, and as after as reference which the tables to give the reference is a reference is the department tables and counts the department tables which field as a department id, and counts as close and the main counts close and the semicolon, and the foreign case is used in any field. So the another table to fetch the reference has to give, so this field as a primary key as also has to now, and a relationship with the department to the employee, and only department IDs is fetch the employee tables. So the department IDs is called as the primary key as also. Otherwise is not fetch in the employee tables. And check constraint, check the conditions as before the inserting the data, as create tables and the table names, and counts inside the age is int as a data types, and as a check counts, and inside the conditions has to give age is greater than and equal to the 80, and so the 80 plus age is allowed, otherwise is not allowed. So the always as allowed the age equals as 20, is not allowed the age is 15, and as a default constraint as is provide default values like create tables and the table names is employee, and the counts inside names is where case as 50, and commas as the countries where case is 50, and default is, and a country's values as the default has to gives as the default, and single quotes inside as a India. So the country's names is not right, so the default has to fetch in India, and the counts close and the semicolon. And if the countries is not as entered, so the decide and write in India, and will be as stored as automatically. Thank you guys to watch the videos. Please subscribe the channel, on the notification and bell icon.